everyone, it's Steph from wildfoxstitchery here. Thank you so much for joining me today on this video. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you. And if you are new, welcome. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, can you give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to follow along on my progress. This is a channel about cross stitching and sometimes other crafts too. Maybe books that I read, things that I watch occasionally, but mainly cross stitching. And I generally work on full coverage and large samplers and some other things as well. So let's go ahead and look at numbers for the past week. My overall total stitches, these are the ones that I counted that weren't paper patterns. I had 1, 2, 3, at least 3, if not more, four paper patterns. So whatever I stitch on those are not included in this number. Total 4,887 counted stitches this week. Looking at my goals, I met all of them except for working on Maleficent. So that one I did not get to yet. I still could do that today. It's Saturday evening, so I could do it tonight if I feel like it. I'm not sure if I will or not, or I might just do a little extra next week if I get to it. But I did meet my goals in all the other categories, so that's awesome. And then let's look at the individual projects here. Okay, first one, we have my long dog sampler of the week, and that was Castles in the Air. So this is what it looked like last week before I started working on it. This is a paper pattern, so I don't have numbers or anything, but here is where I worked on. I worked a little bit on this castle here, finished this flower, added, I think, this blue squirrel, started here, and worked a little bit down here, and even put in a few more of these over on this side. So this is a 22 count hardanger fabric, and I'm using DMC threads. I've got 4 different colors. There's the lighter gray, the darker gray, the blue, and then there's some darker blue accents in there as well. And you can see I have done some of the back stitching, but not all of it. There's quite a bit still to do in this castle here. Makes it look a lot better when you add the back stitching in. But yeah, this one is one of my, it is actually my oldest long dog sampler, I believe. I started it in 2018. So it's 2/1 on this 22 count, which to me is just a little too thick, but I'm gonna keep going with it, obviously. I'm not gonna change it now. I really like the way the colors are looking on this one. And as you can see, I am quite a ways into it, so I wouldn't want to start over. But yeah, with the paper pattern, it's a lot harder to to work like where the pages end and stuff. So definitely appreciate PDF and markup RXP to make things easier nowadays. So we're going to go ahead and spin my long dog sampler wheel and see which project I'll work on this next week. If I can pull it up here. Okay, there's only 3 left, so we don't have many choices. And then we'll start over. Death by cross stitch. That will be fun. You will see where I am on that one next week. But I'm very excited about that one. I do have it in markup, so that made it easier. Okay, let's go back here and go to the next thing, which is a Modern Folk Embroidery 2026 cell called Little Acorns. And I'm doing it with DMC 816 on a 32 count even weave 2/2. So here's my progress. You can see I've made it across the top of the first band. There is only a little bit left on this first one, and then I'll be able to move to the second band, which is where I think you're going to see a little bit of changes because I am cutting out a couple of the bands and rearranging them, the remaining ones. So I think the next one will be slightly different than what the pattern shows, if I remember correctly. So it's looking good. I really enjoy working on this one. Let's see, percentages. Again, I haven't marked off the bands I'm not stitching, so it's not quite accurate, but this is right now 11.22% completed with 2,955 out of 26,335 stitches done. So my goal for this one is 400 stitches a week because I want to finish this by the end of the year. Next, we have my whip go call for February. This is the second week I'm working on this one. So the next 2 weeks, I will work on the other whip go call, which I will talk about in just a bit here. This is a Letistitch kit. So another paper pattern, don't have numbers for. It's called Summer Dreams. This is what it looks like. Super cute. I love this one. I'll show you where I was before I worked on it this week, and now here we are. Let's see if I can put this up the right way. Okay, so here we are after my work on it this week. I was working in trying to fill in some of the colors around here, around the face, and we'll hopefully fill in the rest of the fox, I guess, is the plan before moving on to all the greens and the flowers. So really, really enjoying working on this kit. I'm using whatever came in the kit for this. So I think this is a 16 count Aidan, and then the threads that came with the kit. And as you can see, I am also gridding it myself with a water soluble marker. So that is going to go away until it gets called for whip go again. It's on the board again, so it'll get brought up again this year. And then the one that I have to work on next is my Lila Studio Peace on Earth Quaker. So I am looking forward to working on that again. Also worked on my Mirabilia this week. It's called Biancabella. This is for my first Fancy Lady Stitch Along. So this is of course a paper pattern as well. So I was working here up in this section. And this is on a 32 count lavender Lugana. And right now it just has DMC threads in it so far. I haven't gotten to any of the other ones yet. So this one is harder to read. Some of the symbols are not very clear. So it's kind of tricky seeing if this is the slash or the slash, you know, like the division symbol where you can barely see those two dots on the side of the slash. But hopefully I'm doing it right since it was kind of tricky on some of them. Next we have my round robin project. So we all sent ours on to the next people. So this is the third rotation. So I am doing the third quarter on this pattern. Let's see. This pattern is called Land That I Love, and it is by Cherry Blossoms Quilting, it looks like, at Cherry Blossoms. So this is what it's gonna look like. And the top two sections were already completed when I got it in the mail this week. And I am working on this bottom fourth here. So I had got quite a bit in here. So I took this to my crafting group on Wednesday night and got a lot of progress on that. So that was a lot of fun working on this. I'm looking forward to finishing that up, and then we'll do our final rotation and then send it back to the original people. So that'll be fun. And then let's move on to full coverage whips. So what my main focus for the year is Mini Chroma by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artist is Margaret Morales, one of my favorite artists. And this is where I am so far. So my goal for this is about 1,400 stitches a week, I think it was. And I did meet my goal this week. So if I continue to do that every week this year, I should have it done by the end of the year, as long as all goes well. I think it's coming along really well. You can see I've made it to the other edge here. So this is the width. It's a pretty skinny piece. It fits inside the hoop, which is nice. And we can get some numbers here for this in just a second, once I find it. So, oh, we're almost to 5%. We're 4.97% completed with 3,456 stitches out of 69,550. So love the colors on this one. And this is a 28 count even weave, and I'm doing 2/110 stitch. I'm going a little closer here so you can see. My favorite needle minder is by Stitch Sprout. Love that one. So yeah, I can't wait to keep working on this one. I just love this one so much, and the colors are my favorite part, of course, about it. So let's move on to the next one. My other focus for the year, this one I put, my goal is 1,000 stitches a week, so that by the end of the year I'll have 52,000 stitches in it. And it's called The Arrival of Spring, charted by Unconventional Xstitch, artist Natacha Chohra. So here's where we are. I was able to meet my goal on this one, and I was working here on this bird. So we're starting to see some more interesting things coming out on this one. I'll keep working on that bird and then go back to the background a little bit maybe after that. But yeah, I put in my 1,000 stitches on it. This is on a 28 count even weave, 2/110 stitch. And I wish I had a hoop that would fit this in, but the big nerd hoop wasn't quite big enough. I might put it on my Q-snap, we'll see. I just don't like how the hoop lines are ruining the stitches on this. So this is gonna be beautiful once it's done. It's so fun to see the bird coming out, isn't it? You can kind of see where he's gonna be, his little head here. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more progress on that bird this week. Next, we have another weekly piece that I put 250 stitches in every week on. It is by Artecy. It's called Freedom by Abraham Hunter, and it's the cropped version. And it's on an 18 count Aida, 2/1 full cross. That is why I just put 250 in instead of 500 that I normally would do. So you can see I'm still working in over here, still trying to finish up that second row, but every time what I do is I pick the next color, but then I keep working it until I run out of this thread. So all of these colors just keep going down this way instead of across. So eventually we'll fill in the rest of the second row there. And by that time, the third row will be almost filled in too, won't it? But this is looking amazing. I love this one. Let's look at numbers on this one, if I can find it. I always lose this one. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we made it to 15% completed, 15.09 with 5,809 stitches out of 38,500. So that I think is a nice little milestone, 15%. Okay, what's next? Okay, then we have my football stitching. And since this was for the Patriots, it still continued until, of course, a week ago when we had the Super Bowl, and that was their last game of the season. Unfortunately, they lost, but that just means I don't have to do another 2,000 extra stitches because I still owe this one. I had owed it 1,900 from before, and I did 520 on it this week. So I still owe 1,380 before I put it away till next season. So here we are. This is Killers, charted by Tilton Crafts. Artist is Moreno Aidan, and it's on a 25 count even weave, 2 over 1/10 stitch, and I'm doing all of the 310 first, as you can see. It looks really good, even with just the 310 on there. I really like how it's looking. So let's look at our numbers on this one. We are at 24.09% completed with 27,972 stitches out of 116,100. So I'll probably go back over here and try to go down with the black border there, just because I want to meet up over here and just keep going across with the black then in the rows, if I can manage that without getting too bored over here. We'll see. So that is my progress on this, and this piece is for my husband, which is why I am following the Patriots for this one, because that is his team. In fact, he's got this, we call it his Tom Brady shrine in the bedroom, where he's got pictures and like memorabilia stuff around, and so I got him a couple more things for his Tom Brady shrine for Valentine's Day, because today is Valentine's Day, so we all thought it was funny. Next, we're going to look at Close Encounters, which is by Scot Howden, and it is charted by Paine Crafts. I'm stitching this with my friend Samantha, Kansas City Stitcher, and this is where I'm at. So it looks really good. I love how her face is looking. This is also a 25 count even weave, 2 over 1/10 stitch. Look at that. So there's just a couple stitches missing. You can see them in her face, like on her nose there, a couple down here in the chin. But otherwise, the face is just about fully finished. I've been working on the hair this week. So I put in, well, my goal is 500 stitches a week. I did get my goal this week, which is good because the last couple of weeks I did not. So let's look at numbers on this one. Ooh, we've reached 5% complete on this one as well, another milestone. So 5,509 stitches out of 110,032. Okay, and now we're going to watch the video about my Threadwalker Saga stitching, which is a stitching game that I have available. I have the papers of like the PDF available. You can either join my Facebook group if you're interested in playing this and want to get the download. It's free for either way. Otherwise, on my Ko-fi shop, which is linked below, the download is also there for free. There's nothing else on the shop, just that. I put it up there just so people can download it in case they don't have Facebook. So yeah, so if you are interested after watching this video, you know where to find the PDF. And let's take a look at the video, and then we'll talk about the pieces after that. For the next level, I had to respin the wheel because I'm no longer working on Mermaid, and it picked Quick Stitch Ruby by Meredith Dillman, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, so I need to put 200 stitches in on this. I've added my 200 stitches to Quick Stitch Ruby, filling in some of this color here. And the funny thing is, when I stopped with the thread, it was exactly 200 stitches, which never happens. So I colored in level 14. We're moving on to 15, which is a special square. Your thread gets hopelessly tangled. We have to roll a dice if it's odd. We subtract 100 stitches. If it's even, we add 100 stitches. We'll just roll one dice here. It is even, so we are adding 100 stitches. So that would make this 300 stitches, and we'll spin the wheel to see what we're working on. 300 stitches on Darth Vader. Here's Darth Vader before the 300 stitches is put in. Okay, I've added the 300 stitches. I just did the black along the top there, so it went pretty quick. So I've colored in that level. Now we're going to be working on level 16 for 200 stitches. Let's spin the wheel and see what we're going to be working on. Okay, so 200 stitches on the Fool. Here is my starting point on the Fool, and I'll be putting in 200 stitches. I've put in the 200 stitches on the Fool. I put in a few up here, some other colors. So I have colored in level 16, and now we'll be on 17 for 200 stitches. And we're going to spin to see what that will be on. Killers. So another 200 on Killers. Okay. So the first one I worked on was this Quick Stitch Ruby by Meredith Dillman. It's one of my at the end of the year I started this before the new year started. So I am not very far on this, but since it's so small, we are at 2.89% completed with 1,240 stitches out of 42,875. This is a 28 count even weave, 2 over 1/10 stitch, and I'm working my way across the top row like I do on a lot of them, but I also was working the thread until it's done, so that is why these threads went down rather than across. So I love this one. It's so pretty. Looking forward to getting some more work on it this year. I like when they're small because then you put a little bit of work on it and it seems like more in progress than when you have the giant ones. Next, I worked on Darth Vader. This is from Etsy by AnaterraCrossStitch. I have the thread hanging on the back here still because I only put in the required amount of stitches and then I stopped. So here is where we are. This is a 28 count even weave, 2 over 1/10 stitch. I was kind of working in the colors because I was getting bored of black, but I think I'm going to go across to get to the other end of this piece. Let me look at the numbers for this one. We're at 12.9% complete. It's another small one. So 4,063 stitches out of 31,500. Lots of 310 on this one too. Seems like a lot of my projects have a lot of 310, which I think is why I really like the two focus projects. They don't have hardly any 310 as far as I can tell. Okay, what did I work on after that? Let's see. It looks like it was the Fool. Pull up my notes here. This is by ThreadGeeks, and the artist is Yuriko Shirou. And I started this with Carol from Carol Kirsch Podcast in December, so there isn't much work on this one yet. but I was able to put in my 200 stitches. I am also gonna work my way across this way on this one instead of going to 310 like I was before. Always changing my mind on the way I work on these. So it'll probably be different again next time I pull it out. Let me find it here. So we're at 0.93% complete with 1,257 stitches out of 134,784. So this is a little bit bigger one. And not very colorful, if you can see from the preview image. But I really like this. Did I say this is also 28 count even weave, 2/110 stitch. Okay, that is the last one that I worked on, I believe. Let me double check here. Yes, that is it as far as what I worked on. I was going to mention a new Flosstuber who I watched the first video of hers, and it was really good. I think she's even got a second one if I remember right. It's Cat's Cross Stitches. So go, I'm going to link her below and you can go check her out as she's newer and give her some support. And then what else was I going to say? Oh, other than that, let's talk about plans. So my plans are pretty much still the same, except for I'm switching the whip go call to the other one, which is the Peace on Earth Quaker Sal. Otherwise, I still need 1,430 on Chroma, 1,000 on the Arrival of Spring, 400 on Acorns. I try to get 500 on a Long Dog Sampler of the Week, which will be Death by Cross Stitch. Try to work on killers if I can, and keep leveling up the Threadwalker Saga character, which I still haven't talked about what the character is, because this is a different character than the first one I started. But I am still working on this character's story. So eventually you will hear this character story and see, I don't have a picture or anything to show you of this character, but I need to put that all together because I think it is a very interesting story. So I will work on that hopefully here in the next couple weeks. Otherwise, I'm still working on my crochet projects. I haven't gotten too much further on my Grafgan, which you can see on the back table there. I've got it all organized with all those all those balls of yarn back there. But I did put a couple more rows in on that. I am working on a couple of like small size blankets to donate to the NICU. There is a lady who's doing a NICU drive, so I'm going to try to do a couple of those small blankets for that because my twins were in the NICU for a couple of weeks when they were born. So we really appreciated the blankets that they got when they were in the NICU. So it would be nice to also make some for other babies to get and other families. So that is something I need to work on here quickly because the deadline is coming up. And then what else? Star Wars. Our Star Wars adventure of watching all of the Star Wars movies and series in chronological order. We're still on the Clone Wars, but we're going much faster than I thought we would. We are already on season 5. I think there's only 7 seasons, so it'll only be a couple more weeks or maybe another week. It depends on how much time we have to watch it before we are done with that and moving on to something new. So I've really been enjoying it. This is the first time I've ever seen it, so it's been fun and even though it's animated, it's still a good show. If you haven't seen it and you like Star Wars, you should definitely get past the first couple episodes in season 1, and then it starts to get better after that. If that scares you off, and then other than that, let's see. I am listening to book 3 in the Stormlight Archives series, so that I think is called Oathbreaker. I am listening to that on audiobook, so that is about halfway done, I believe. I'm really enjoying that series, and we are going to, I think, keep watching some more Clone Wars. We've been doing that this evening already, but I think we're gonna go back to that after I'm done filming here. Other than that, oh, it's been weather-wise for February in North Dakota, it's been extremely nice. We haven't had to wear, it's been too warm for jackets, which is crazy for the middle of February. I think we are getting a storm and possibly up to 6 inches of snow this coming week. We'll see what happens, but that is what they are talking about as of right now. So as long as we don't get the bitter cold though, we don't mind snow, because I think the boys want to go and shovel driveways and make some extra money if they get the chance to do that. And if we get a big snowstorm, that would they would probably appreciate that. They're going to try to start up their own little business here as a school project, and also to earn some extra money. So they're going to do yard work, shoveling snow, raking leaves, pulling weeds, picking up dog poop, all of those fun chores. So hopefully we can get that going for them, and they can start doing that up in our neighborhood. And then, so they're excited about that. So we've just been doing that this weekend a little bit. So that is why I bring it up right now. We are just starting the planning stages for that. And then the most exciting thing that we're going to do this weekend is fill out our taxes tomorrow. So that will be super, super fun. I don't mind doing the taxes, so it's not like it's that hard. Although with the Etsy shop, it makes it a little bit trickier. So that's the plan. And I really appreciate that you took the time to watch this video. And please leave a comment down below what you were stitching on, if you were stitching while you were watching. And thank you. I will talk to you next time. Bye.